Cam alignment on the Lexus is200 IG FE engine, straight 6 2-litre. It has two problems. It won't start, and as a result of it not starting, it's because of the cams, the intake and the exhaust cams are out of alignment. So what the problem here is that on the exhaust cam, the lining, the dots that are supposed to be facing each other are not quite right. So on the exhaust cam, the dot is actually at the horizontal position, whereas the dot that's supposed to correspond and face it is actually pointing straight up and is out by 90 degrees. So as a result, it won't start. So what needs to be done here is that the cam on the intake needs to be taken out, and it needs to be spun through 90 degrees so that it actually faces the corresponding dot on the exhaust cam. So in this case, because it is sprung loaded and the intake cam has actually got two gears, the gears haven't actually been loaded up. So the safety bolt that's supposed to go through M6 10mm socket bolt that's supposed to go through will not go all the way through from the front gear to the back gear to enable you to lock the cam. Now clearly, because the two cams are meshed together, it's not possible for the intake cam to be released. However, as you can see, all the valves in this case are all fully open because it was set at before top dead center. However, the first piston is actually started to open the valves, which means that the valves are safe, they're not bent, but they are starting to open. So what's required here is that the intake cam has to be lifted out, spun through 90 degrees so that the two corresponding dots face each other. However, the cam cover, which is over the top here, is actually prohibiting the cam to be lifted out. So what's required is the cam cover at the very front has to be taken straight up with not with a mallet or anything like that. It needs to be taken straight up because it's been glued down with gasket. So it needs to be taken straight up, and then once that's done, the cam will ping out, and once it pings out, it will require the sub gear to be reloaded, which means the cam's out and reloaded and a safety bolt put back in it, so that once the cams are once the sub gear is then locked into position, it will enable you to be able to spin the cam through 90 degrees and then be able to line the dots back in. Once they're back in again into position and facing each other, it is possible then that and providing the valves haven't been damaged or bent, it should be possible to be able to put the engine to be able to start.